Welcome to today's exploration of the psychology of attachment, influence, and attraction. In this discussion, we'll uncover the subtle psychological behaviors that create emotional pull, the kind that makes a woman feel deeply connected without fully understanding why. Using principles drawn from Machiavellian psychology and dark persuasion theory, we'll examine how small actions can quietly shape perception, establish intrigue, and inspire emotional dependency when executed with intelligence and restraint. This is not about manipulation or deceit, but about understanding how the mind responds to mystery, consistency, and emotional balance. Psychology has long shown that attraction often grows from contrast between presence and distance, certainty and unpredictability. When these forces are used deliberately but ethically, they can create lasting fascination. The Machiavellian framework emphasizes control over impulse, reading others accurately and using self-mastery as a tool for influence rather than coercion. By the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of how emotional attachment is formed and maintained through behavior rather than words. We'll explore 5 strategic actions that, when applied with awareness and authenticity, can make a woman invest emotionally in you without even realizing it. Stay attentive because these insights are not about surface-level attraction. They're about mastering psychological depth and presence. Mystery is one of the oldest and most powerful forces in attraction. Psychologically, it triggers curiosity, the desire to understand what is not immediately clear. When a man reveals just enough about himself to spark interest but withholds the rest, he activates a natural chase dynamic. Women, like all people, are drawn to emotional puzzles. The unknown becomes alluring. Machiavellian psychology understands this principle deeply. The less you reveal, the more others project their own fantasies onto you. Creating mystery does not mean being deceptive or secretive. It means mastering selective disclosure. You share insights about yourself gradually, letting your actions speak louder than your explanations. This controlled ambiguity makes interactions feel alive and unpredictable. The contrast between openness and restraint keeps emotional energy flowing, ensuring that she never fully feels she has you figured out. A key factor in sustained fascination. From a psychological standpoint, the human mind seeks closure. When someone becomes an unresolved question, attention lingers. By maintaining mystery through calm confidence and subtle unpredictability, you hold emotional space in her thoughts. Machiavellian influence thrives on this balance, revealing just enough to connect, yet holding back enough to remain intriguing. It's this tension between familiarity and curiosity that makes emotional attachment not only possible but inevitable. True dominance has little to do with aggression or control. It's about composure under pressure. In Machiavellian psychology, calmness is a form of silent authority that commands respect without needing to demand it. When a man maintains steady tone, patience, and self-possession, it signals emotional mastery. Women subconsciously associate this calm confidence with security and capability, 2 traits deeply tied to attraction and trust. Calm dominance also shapes emotional dynamics. In moments of tension or uncertainty, the person who remains centered naturally becomes the stabilizing force. This control of energy shifts the balance. She begins to seek your reaction, your approval, your calm reassurance. Unlike forceful dominance, which creates resistance, subtle dominance through composure invites trust and admiration. Psychologically, this steadiness satisfies a primal instinct, the desire to feel safe in emotional uncertainty. A man who does not react impulsively, who listens before speaking and chooses words with intention, builds quiet authority. From a Machiavellian lens, this is influence at its highest form, power exercised through restraint, presence, and unshakable calm. Emotional distance, when used with awareness, is one of the most powerful psychological tools in attraction. Machiavellian psychology views restraint as a form of control, not over others but over oneself. When a man maintains composure and does not rush to fill silence or seek constant validation, he creates a sense of mystery that naturally draws others in. Women in particular are responsive to balance, the combination of interest and independence. By remaining emotionally grounded and slightly unpredictable, you trigger curiosity, which is the foundation of fascination. Psychologically, emotional distance activates what researchers call intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism that keeps people intrigued by uncertainty. When attention and affection are given unpredictably but sincerely, the mind begins to crave more of it. However, this must never cross into manipulation. The goal is to demonstrate emotional control, not coldness. A man who is comfortable with space communicates confidence. He shows that his world does not revolve around approval and that strength compels emotional investment. From a Machiavellian perspective, distance creates leverage. By not making yourself constantly available, you shift perception from seeker to prize. The contrast between engagement and withdrawal amplifies desire. This is not about playing games, but about understanding rhythm. Too much presence breeds familiarity. Too little creates detachment. The art lies in knowing when to lean in and when to step back. Ultimately, controlled emotional distance is about mastery of self. It allows attraction to grow naturally, guided by curiosity and respect. When you remain calm, composed, and slightly elusive, you invite pursuit rather than force it. In the language of dark psychology, this quiet restraint is not manipulation. It is psychological gravity, pulling her toward you through balance, mystery, and emotional control. Validation is one of the most influential psychological tools in shaping emotional attachment. When used strategically, it creates a powerful dynamic of anticipation. Machiavellian psychology emphasizes giving just enough recognition to make someone feel valued, then withdrawing that attention to create emotional contrast. This subtle rhythm keeps the mind engaged. It mirrors the push and pull that makes attraction feel alive. When a man balances warmth with distance, his approval gains weight and his absence becomes felt more deeply. The effectiveness of this technique lies in timing. Over-validation dulls its effect, while selective affirmation enhances it. When you acknowledge her effort or presence at the right moments, with sincerity and restraint, it activates a sense of reward. The brief withdrawal that follows heightens emotional awareness, creating subconscious desire to regain that attention. This is not manipulation but psychological pacing, the art of influencing through controlled availability. From a Stoic or Machiavellian standpoint, emotional control is central. You remain aware of your impact, yet detached from the need for response. By alternating between validation and subtle distance, you maintain polarity, the tension that keeps emotional energy flowing. Used consciously and ethically, this approach creates attraction grounded not in words, but in the unspoken rhythm of attention and absence. Consistency is one of the most underestimated forces in human psychology. While mystery and distance create intrigue, consistency builds trust. And it is the combination of both that deepens attachment. In Machiavellian terms, consistency serves as emotional conditioning. When your actions, tone, and demeanor remain stable over time, you become a psychological anchor in her world. Amid daily uncertainty, your predictability provides comfort and the mind naturally gravitates toward what feels reliable. This steady presence gradually forms emotional dependence. Each interaction reinforces familiarity, creating a subconscious association between your stability and her sense of safety. It is not the intensity of your gestures that matters, but their rhythm, regular, calm, and controlled. The balance between availability and restraint keeps attraction alive while allowing trust to mature. From a dark psychology standpoint, consistent behavior strengthens influence because it reduces emotional confusion. When your reactions remain composed, even during tension, you appear emotionally superior, someone who cannot be easily shaken. Over time, this steadiness becomes magnetic. She begins to rely on your emotional control to ground her own feelings. Ultimately, consistency is the invisible thread that ties intrigue to attachment. It transforms curiosity into comfort and comfort into dependence. Machiavellian mastery lies in maintaining this balance, to remain steady enough to be trusted, yet mysterious enough to be desired. When executed with integrity and self-awareness, this combination doesn't manipulate, it captivates. What makes someone emotionally attached is rarely what they see on the surface. It's what they feel when you're around. The principles we've discussed reveal a truth central to both Machiavellian and psychological understanding. Power in relationships comes from awareness, not force. When you learn to balance closeness with distance, warmth with restraint, and presence with unpredictability, you shape an emotional rhythm that keeps others engaged at a subconscious level. This is not about deception, but about mastering your own energy and influence. True influence lies in subtlety. A calm demeanor, measured words, and consistent behavior create quiet dominance, the kind that makes people feel drawn to your steadiness. Through emotional control, you inspire confidence. Through mystery, you spark fascination. Together, these elements create the psychological tension that fuels attachment. Yet the key is discipline. To use understanding as a tool for awareness, never for manipulation. As you reflect on these insights, remember that mastery begins within. When you control your emotions, your attention, and your reactions, you become the kind of person who naturally attracts rather than chases. The Machiavellian principle of self-command is not about cold detachment, but about inner power. When practiced with awareness and integrity, it transforms every interaction into a study of balance, where respect, attraction, and influence coexist seamlessly.